Hello, welcome. I am Patty from My Mother's Random Thoughts, and today I am going live to talk about picky eaters. Um, do you have a picky eater in your house? I am going to try to create a little banner, and we are going to be talking about getting a picky eater to try new foods. And I am uh, a picky eater to try new foods. I am going to put up a little banner so people joining can see what we are talking about today. There, getting a picky eater to try new foods. Um, we, my husband and I have 5 children. And Jack, if you're a follower of my page, Jack is our youngest. He just turned 18 and he is autistic. So I have lots of years of making foods, getting children to eat foods, getting children to try new foods. I am not an expert. I do not have a degree. And if your child has some um, food disorder, obviously these things don't apply. This is just picky eaters. How do I get my kids to try new foods? Now, um, if you're joining us, say hello. I'd love to know where you're joining from and maybe a little about you. I am going to try. I can't ever see the screen. I have bifocals, but hello everyone. It's wonderful that you are here. So, my first tip in getting a picky eater to try new foods is avoid food battles. You will not win. You cannot force, I suppose you could force, but I kind of think that's probably abusive, a child to chew and swallow a food that they do not want to eat. And if you say things like to your child, you have to finish everything on your plate before you get dessert, you're going to create eating disorders. As someone who grew up under that type of household, you had to eat everything on your plate. If I wanted dessert, I ate all the foods. I forced myself to eat foods past the point that I was not hungry. I was not usually putting food on my plate, and you have to try some of everything. Well, creating those rules, the child has no control over what they get to eat, and most children gravitate towards sweets, and so if you tell them they have to eat everything, they're gonna at least try to eat everything, creating problems later in life with food. I would say that's where most of my food problems came from. Um, and yes, I do. Kathy commented, I like how your son said, I don't like that. This is direct. And we allow our children to say, I don't like something. I don't like the taste of it. Sometimes I make bad food. The reality is, if you've been cooking for a long time, even the best chefs make bad food sometimes. And so sometimes I make bad food. And so I allow my children to say, you know what, this doesn't taste good. That doesn't mean that the food necessarily is bad if they don't like it. Sometimes they just don't like something. That is going to be my number 2. Sometimes you need to just listen to your kids. I have this story. My older kids, this was a learning experience for me. I got canned pears, and I had them in a bowl and told the kids they all had to have a half of a canned pear. And my oldest son, who was probably maybe 10 at the time, said, "This doesn't taste good." And I said, and I knew they had eaten canned pears before, "Just eat it." I'm thinking he's trying to get out of eating his pear. And they're, as they're complaining about the canned pear, they eat their pear. I sit down and I take a bite of it, and it did not taste good. It was a bad pear. I just told my kids to quit complaining and eat their pear, and it was bad. The expiration date was still good, but the pears tasted bad. So listen to your kids. Don't assume that everything is okay just because you opened a new can, or things sometimes have a bad taste. A lot of times kids don't like textures of things. So when you're dealing with fruits and vegetables, and maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, when you're dealing with fruits and vegetables, there's a little meme that goes around about, a cracker is consistently a cracker. A blueberry could be mushy, firm, sweet, sour. Same with strawberries. They run the gamut. So fruits and vegetables are not consistent. And, you have a tomato that's really sweet and one is juicier than another. They are all different. And so your child might not like a certain variety. When it comes to apples, we have one child who loves Granny Smith apples. The other child does not. They prefer something a little sweeter. So try a variety of foods within the same food category. Go and pick up 3, 4, 5 different varieties of apples. I have one child who will not eat apples with the skin on. So I peel the skin off. I'm getting him to eat the apple he would not otherwise eat. And I cut that up for him. Other kids will eat an apple whole. So when you're trying foods, try a variety of the same food. And try it made different ways. Apples, the raw apple, some are crispy, some are softer. Cooked apples taste slightly different. Applesauce, I will make cooked apples, and my one son loves the chunks in cooked apples, but he doesn't particularly like canned applesauce. So different kids will gravitate toward different textures. Try a variety. My rule, and it's been my rule for decades in my house, take a teeny bite. If you don't like it, spit it in a napkin. You don't have to swallow. My kids are more likely to try something if they know they don't have to swallow it. That rule I had in place from the time my younger kids were little. Jack we did not do that with because he obviously had more sensory issues. It wasn't until probably about 3, 4 years ago that my daughter said, we all had to do this. She looked at Jack and said, "We all had to do this growing up. It's your turn to do it. Just take a little bite. If you don't like it, you can spit it in a napkin." Now, he doesn't spit in a napkin. He usually will go to the garbage can, open it up, and spit in there. We're working on getting him to spit in a napkin. But it is something that works. Kids are more likely to try something if they know they don't have to swallow, if they absolutely do not like it. And if you follow my page, you will see we get Jack tries new foods. We periodically have him trying new flavors, new textures. This week he did pomegranate and he liked it. He did try, I'm trying to think, the cotton candy grapes, did not like those. When you're trying new foods, This is another tip. When you're trying new foods, try one at a time. Jack, do you want to come and say hi? Maybe we can get it to come say hi. Try one new food at a time. Do not introduce multiple new foods.
Hi.
They're gonna love you. You'll get love. There. We're talking about you trying new foods and kids trying new foods. Okay. Do you want to go read a book or something?
Yes.
Okay. So
Pirates of the Caribbean.
we're going to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, is that what you wanted to watch? Probably. That's probably what he wants to watch. So when you are trying new foods, try one new food at a time. Do not introduce multiple foods because, and especially in casseroles that are mixed together, if you're trying something new, you're not going to know what new food they don't like. Children tend not to like casseroles. I know they're easy to prepare, but Jack, very simple taste. Meat, vegetable, fruits, none of them touch. Nothing touches. And you may be dealing with that. I have tips, things that I've been doing for years, where if I'm mixing stuff together, we pull out his early. Let's say I'm making taco meat, he doesn't like the taco seasoning. We pull his ground beef out, and then we add the seasoning. He doesn't like lots of cooked, he doesn't like cooked carrots. He doesn't like cooked, cucumbers he loves. I'm trying to think, apples. So if we're having some vegetable or fruit he doesn't like, I will just cut him up an apple or cut him up, a cucumber. He does eat radishes. He's tried a lot in the past couple of years, a lot of new things. And that's another thing. Expect their taste buds to change. Children, over time, their taste buds change and they will decide they don't like a certain food or they might like a food. We have a story about pizza. We used to have pizza night once a week, and we would get a pepperoni pizza, and my daughter and I loved veggies on our pizza, and the men in the house did not like the vegetables, so we knew we could share the veggie pizza and have some left over for another meal. At about 17, my oldest son decided he was going to try our pizza. Never liked the veggie pizza, decided to try it, determined he liked it, and my daughter said, oh great, now we don't have pizza left over to share later. Kids' tastes change, so be aware of that. And something they didn't like before, wait a year or so or two or three and reintroduce it and see if they like it. If you are just joining, I have 5 kids. I am not a food expert, but I am my oldest child is 35, my youngest is 18, and all of my kids are great eaters. Also, my mother is staying with us, and that's the noise in the background. So, the other thing, foods prepared different ways. Broccoli, raw, roasted, steamed, with butter, with olive oil. The same with Brussels sprouts. Some kids like it roasted, some like it steamed. I don't like raw broccoli, but I will eat it roasted or steamed. Look at the things you like and say, okay, well, I don't particularly like a food prepared a certain way. Maybe my child doesn't. Maybe we can try it a different way and see if they will like it. Carrots. Marcus, who is 19, loves cooked carrots. Say cooked carrots 5 times real fast. Jack does not like cooked carrots, but he will eat them raw. So if I'm making cooked carrots, we will take a carrot and just cut it up, raw carrot sticks for Jack in the same meal. Lots of fruits and vegetables are like that, where a child might like something cooked and or raw, but not vice versa. I think cooking enhances a lot of flavors, especially for vegetables, but I don't know if it's a texture thing with certain cooked foods for some children, but just don't assume because your child tried carrots, raw carrots and didn't like them, they won't like them cooked. Lots of soups have vegetables in it, and Jack loves, I make wedding soup and it has carrots in it, and he picks the carrots out and gives them to someone else. Check your own eating habits. My spouse my husband, very picky eater, used to say, I don't like, and he is now slightly older than me, and in the past 3-4 years, he has started to try more things. And he is now eating foods I never thought he would eat. So don't give up hope. Your child might decide as a teen they're going to try new things, and you find out that they like things they never ate before. This is my favorite, travel. When you travel, you try different foods. And you get to try them without creating that food in your home and then finding out nobody liked it. When you travel, and I use Disney as an example, Epcot, you can try foods all around Epcot from different cultures, and it's during the Food and Wine Festival and the Flower and Garden Festival, they have food stands that you can get just sample sizes of a food, and you can try different flavors and experience different cultures and see what you like. I never made Chinese or Asian food in our house. If we were going to get it, we got it out. And most of my children liked certain Asian meals, but not others. And then my son, who is 19, we don't know where this came from. He loves Asian food. And so we've tried some Korean, we've tried some Thai food, and we have now adopted one Korean dish is a family favorite now. By going to different types of restaurants or ordering that strange thing on the menu as an appetizer and everyone tries it, you may find you like foods you didn't even think you liked. The other thing is having your children pick foods in the grocery store or a farmer's market, or going and actually picking the food from the field, picking strawberries, picking blueberries, picking apples. You might find that your children are more apt to try something if they're involved in the process. And in the grocery store, in the fruits and vegetables, say periodically, do you see something that we haven't tried? We did recently, I've never made artichokes. We've eaten artichokes, but I've never made them. Recently, my son asked if we could buy an artichoke, and we determined we don't like to cook artichoke. It's too much work, but we like the artichoke flavor. Have them help in the kitchen preparing the foods. So if they're involved in the preparation, first of all, they might add some spices you never thought of. You might have something horrible, but you're allowing them to be creative and to explore flavors, textures, taste. The other thing with helping in the kitchen is you allow them to, they might, if they create a concoction, they're going to taste it, most likely. Or they might just want you to taste it. But they're going to most likely taste it, and it's going to help them as they grow with making their own foods. If you have any questions, comments, I would be happy. I'm trying to see overall, check my phone, see if you have any questions or comments. I'd be happy to answer them. The other thing, and I think I touched on this a little, is keep it simple. With children, most children don't like their foods touching. They don't like gravies or sauces. Now, I know there is always a child who wants ranch dressing on everything, or that will only eat chicken nuggets with, ketchup, or there are always kids like that. But for the most part, a lot of kids do not like their food touching. I know I didn't until I hit a certain age and then started to explore flavors together. Usually young children, 5, 6, 7, want simple foods. Let kids play with their food. This is something because it creates a mess, we as parents don't want kids playing with their food. When they play with their food, they're using all of their senses. I don't know if you've watched any of our videos. Jack will touch his food, he sniffs it before he tastes it. He wants to smell it. Kids need to be actively using their senses when they're trying new foods. There is so much going on in the background of my house. So when they play with their foods, they're using all their senses, and that's good. Let them play with their foods. I used to do this thing. I haven't done it in a few years, but when I was a teenager, I did it. I would, if we were out at a restaurant, I would make a face out of leftover food. And it was just something silly. And I continued to do that for years. But, if you go to Pinterest, there are tons of food ideas to create cute foods for children. So the other thing I don't do is I don't hide veggies in food. I do make, that's one of the suggestions that a lot of people say. And if you're going to hide a vegetable in a food and your child finds out, they may not trust you. But I do make things like carrot muffins or banana bread, zucchini bread, or smoothies that have fruits and vegetables that a child might not eat on their own, baked into a food. I think all of my kids love zucchini bread. Not all of them like zucchini. You can try some spaghetti sauce, adding some carrots, onions, and if you puree it, you don't have the chunks. Children might get some fruits and vegetables that way. And children do have a favorite food, period. Jack, when he was 4 or 5 years old, he ate green beans and macaroni and cheese and wanted to eat it for every single meal for weeks. And I remember being very concerned about that, and the doctor looking and saying, okay, green beans and macaroni and cheese aren't the worst thing a child can eat. Secondly, children, given good food choices, tend to eat what their body craves. So for some reason, the green beans, he was craving it. And then when I thought, how could a person possibly survive on green beans and macaroni and cheese? He moved on to something else. Now he still eats green beans. He rarely eats macaroni and cheese. Jack used to eat rice, will not eat rice anymore. He used to eat cheese, does not eat cheese anymore. Those things do not distress me because overall he has a great diet. And try the same foods over. I think I've mentioned this, that children's taste buds change as they age. So something that they tried at 5 and said they didn't like, at 10 they may love it. And smells really affect. If a child doesn't like the smell of a food, they're probably not going to eat it. And this is This is one of my favorite. It's the last thing I have to say, and it is my favorite to do. Have taste testing days. Pick a food. It could be candy, and put different chocolates chopped up in a bowl, and let them taste and pick their favorites. We did this with chips and dip. The constant was the chip, and then we had different chip dips. Some store bought, I made one, and everyone joined in on the fun. It is fun. It gets kids excited, and it's fun to try this out. Um, you can try it with, you know, different types of apples. You are the person who knows what's in each bowl, and you cut them in little chunks and have them just try one little chunk. Remove the skin so they can't see, this is a green apple, this is a red apple. And then even make a score sheet where they can rate what which one was their favorite and which is their least favorite. And then you announce an overall winner if you're doing it with a group of people. And those type of things are fun and generate excitement about trying new foods. I hope I have given you some great ideas on how to get your picky eater to eat more foods. People have, as I post Jack trying foods, people keep asking me about how to get their child to try new foods. When did Jack start trying new foods? And like I said, this is something we never push, and it didn't occur until he was about 12, 13 that we actually started getting him to try new foods. So it's been wonderful chatting, and I thank you for following along in our journey. I look forward to seeing you again on another video. And if you could like, comment, share any of our content, we would be grateful. Thank you, and have a great day.